Morning everyone, it's Chad again. I just wanted to go ahead and give you an update. So as you all know by now, I've pretty much sorted out my NV3500 swap. The last thing that's been really bothering me is that I have not been able to figure out that VIC in the dash to get the four-wheel drive indicator working again, because with the NP231D or DHD in my case, it's different. So the factory sensor, which would be this guy, no longer works. If you were fortunate enough to get your transfer case with the original factory sensor for the 231, you're going to end up with something like this. And let me show you why now. The switch from your Jeep, the ZJ, for the 242 or 249 transfer case will no longer work. And it has to do with the cam on the other side of this sample piece here. So if I show you guys here, so you see that little ball right up in there? That's a little tiny ball bear, or it's a ball switch, and for each time the cam passes it, it grounds the switch out internally to indicate on your dashboard which four-wheel drive mode you're in. Now, here's the thing though. The one from the Dodge has a different resistance than the one from the Jeep. Or, well, I should say, the one from the 231 transfer case has a different resistance in it than the one from the 242/249. So it's not like it's as easy as, you cut your wiring harness and you splice in the connector from the Dodge. So it is a little bit of a pain, but I have actually gone ahead and figured it out. So for starters, as you all can see the action there, that's the tolerances that you need roughly for this to work. And the other thing is too, for the 240 or the 242 and 249, it's got a different cam in here, meaning that at least for the 242, there's an additional bump in here, or additional hump in the cam to set off the two-wheel drive mode on your VIC information center on the dashboard. So here's what I ended up coming up with here, but just for real quick reference, let me show you what I mean about how this is no longer going to work. So this is the factory sensor there. If you go to thread it in, even just a little bit, you can already see the cam cannot go past it. So here's what I have come up with, at least for the sensor portion of it. Here's my new replacement sensor. If you go to the hardware store and get yourself a 3/8 by 3/8 flared fitting, it's brass, and if you cut probably about 3 threads on the flared end off of it, it's actually going to work for this application. Because if you have a look, if we go ahead and get this threaded in here, you guys can see the little ball coming through there on the end. Now watch. All it needs to do is make contact to push up on it. Okay, so you see how it's moving? So that's going to be your four-wheel drive high, neutral, four-wheel drive low. Alright, so now here's the real tricky thing. How in the world do I get my wiring to work for this? I'm going to show you. So down here I've got my wiring harness, okay? You will have, unless you're fortunate enough to already have a 231 in your ZJ, you're going to have a 4-prong connector with 4 wires sticking out of it. You're going to have a solid green wire, a gray with yellow, a black with red, and a solid black. Alright, and you're going to obviously, in a normal application, these wires would all be synced together individually to make your 242 or 249 work correctly. Alright, but here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the solid black wire and the solid green wire. You're going to cut them and splice them together on one end, and then you're going to feed it into the other end of the solid green wire. That's your two-wheel drive mode right there. Now if you come over to this side here, with the solid gray and yellow, just leave that one alone. The only reason I cut mine was because I was experimenting with connections. So in the end run, you folks can learn from my mistake, and your installation will be much cleaner than mine. Lastly, on the connector side, you're going to have the black wire with red and the solid black wire. You're going to splice that in together, and you're going to join it with the other end of the black and red wire. This will give you your part-time readout. Between these two wires here, these are your mode wires. Leave the gray wire with the yellow stripe alone. You're going to splice into the black wire with the red wire with the other end of the solid black wire from the harness. And long story short, you're going to end up with it's going to end up being a 3-wire connection by the time you're done, because you have spliced one of the wires into 2 of the others. So, and you're going to end up with something like this. Now, if I go ahead and plug this in, see if I can get my phone to stay for me. Come here. Alright, so I'm going to show you folks here. So right now it's in 2-wheel drive. It reflects it as 2-wheel drive. I'm going to move the cam into the first position, which will be your part-time. And look at that. Your part-time now works again. We're going to go into neutral. Now just note, the 2-wheel drive will always stay illuminated now, but that's no big deal. And then we're going to go in the 4-wheel drive low. And on the ZJ, it just again indicates it as part-time. It does not say as part-time low. So as you all can see now, there is a way to get your VIC working again. And this whole system works great. So all you got to do again is if you just follow the wiring here. So again, the wire on the right with the solid black and the green tied together, that's going to be your 2-wheel drive mode. This wire will always remain active on the VIC now. Then if you splice into the black wire with the red stripe, the other end of the solid black wire, that will then activate your part-time 4-wheel drive. And then this one, just leave it alone. So you really only need to have 2 splices, not 3 like me. So guys, on that note, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, but in the meantime, I believe that's it. And I really gotta admit, that's really nice having that working again. I never thought in a million years I would actually get this to work again, because this is a custom application, and electronics are one of the main things that are always sacrificed when doing a custom application. So on that note, guys, you have a good afternoon. Talk to you soon. Bye.